They're good parts. 2 centuries old, but well made, she replied softly. I know you'll use them well. Her lips curled into a small, sad smile. It's not like I'm planning to die. Rover's just going to move my head into a jar. Not much difference. Body in a jar, head in a jar. Really, it's much more efficient. I gaped at her. No, you can't do this. It's already done, she replied. And it was my idea, Blackjack. Believe me, Gloria was no happier about it than you are now. She sighed. Unfortunately, I'll be stuck in Tenpony until I can get a new body. My life support isn't exactly portable. Not one of those brain bots. That's too much crazy for me to deal with. But why? I asked, my rump hitting the ground, feeling numb all over. You waited years to get your freedom. She looked at me for a long time. I'm more than 250 years old, Blackjack. In that time, I was somewhat decent instructor, the leader of an illegal research project, and not much else. For 150 years I sat in Tenpony Tower, planning for that day when I actually start fixing things. And as soon as I got the chance, all I did was trot around in circles, killing raiders and gangs and driving my friends away from me. In the end, I wound up in a jar. But what about the collegiate? What about the Zodiacs? I pressed, not believing what I was hearing. Both fine groups. I have faith that Triage will run things well now that I'm gone. She's cynical and hard, but she's a realist who won't let the rest of her fellows down. And the Zodiacs will support her. I made sure all of them will continue. She dropped her gaze. Now that they have Steel Pony, I know they'll have a future to work towards. I stared at her hard. How long? Excuse me? How long till you have a new body? Till you're trotting around like normal? Oh, that. Yes. Well, there are many different factors to consider. The fact is that steel ponies were made to augment an existing body, not replace it outright. I could be shoved into a robot, I suppose, but that tends to degrade one's sanity pretty darn quick. I glared at her, tapping her hoof on the floor as she looked away. Well, taking into account current technological levels and the fact that most of my body was synthetic, probably 50 or 60 years. If I hadn't already done it, I would have sat down hard. 50 years. That was 2 pony generations. But why? Why me? Why throw your life away when you finally have a chance to get it back? You had Steel Pony. You could have finally been something. But she simply shook her head. You don't understand, Blackjack. All my life I've wanted to make the world a better place. That was why I became an engineer and a teacher. To make things to help ponies. She pointed to her math equation cutie mark and then sighed. But I haven't helped any pony at all. What are you talking about? You helped... No, Blackjack. I didn't. She replied firmly. I didn't heal a single hurt soul. I didn't take down a single criminal. I didn't do anything but sit in a glass jar while ponies like Triage and Sagittarius did the real work. Then she looked at me, and I saw the anger and shame etched on her face. For 200 years, I watched ponies die. I stood in the background while my friends actually fought to change things. In the end, I accomplished nothing but losing their friendship. She gripped my shoulders. In 1 month, you... She paused to nudge my chin upward so her gaze could meet my downcast eyes. You have done more to help ponies than I have in 1/4 of a millennium. You have suffered and sacrificed, and paid in blood, sweat, and tears. Do you understand how incredible that is? It's nothing. Luck and my friends. I caused more mess than I solved, I said, now the one feeling ashamed. She shook me once and forced me to look into her eyes. It's not nothing. You've changed ponies' lives for the better. And I won't let you die. Not when you have a chance to accomplish so much more. She closed her eyes. If me spending the rest of my life in a jar is the price paid so that you get another shot, then I actually feel like I've done something worthwhile. Something not undone by war and death. I stared at her for a long moment, and she looked away, her ears folding back. There's something else, isn't there? She closed her eyes. There is something else. Yes. She took a deep breath. You may be related to one of the ministry mayors. What? That's ridiculous. I laughed, expecting a smile or something, some hint that it was a joke. She wasn't laughing, though. She simply looked at me, almost with pity. Completely ridiculous! How could I be related to any of the ministry mayors? Who do you think that... What? 2 reasons, she replied soberly. The first is that Glory told me about the silver bullets and the black security cases they came inside. A picture of one of the silver bullet cases flashed onto the projection screen. Each one of these are enchanted so that they can only be opened by a very few select ponies or relatives thereof. I had a feeling that was a list that nearly matched every pony EC1101 was supposed to go to. The ministries used the security cases to transport very secret letters and small objects to each other towards the end of the war. So, what? My great-great-aunt twice removed was Rarity's cousin? What's the big deal? Certainly not something worth dying over, that was sure. If that were it, then it wouldn't be a big deal. But then there's Project Steel Pony. I expected the data to be damaged. In fact, I was dreading for months the years that I would need to repair it. After all, trying to force EC1101 to unseal it when you're not authorized to do so would hardly be good for Steel Pony or the program. The picture on the projector showed me cutting open the terminal with a chainsaw. The Zoni began to pace. However, Steel Pony wasn't damaged. It was unsealed with all its data completely intact. There were files there that even I had forgotten about. The only way that would be possible is if EC1101 actively removed the seal, and that would only happen for the direct descendant of a ministry mayor or the princesses. I started the picture changing into one of me pushing a button with a hoof and the terminal saying access granted. But I thought of Fluttershy, Rarity, and Twilight. She gave a little smile. But that's impossible. I know. The ministry mayors never married or had children. Rainbow Dash was widely believed to prefer the mayors, but the others didn't, and believe me, they were under constant and intense public scrutiny. Only Applejack was ever in a confirmed relationship, and even that was often regarded as questionable. Yeah. What was with that? I asked with a small frown. I mean, the whole no dating, no kids thing. The Zoni sighed and shrugged. It was a prevailing attitude during the war. So many were giving so much in blood, sweat, and treasure that it was seen as indulgent. The ministry mayors were supposed to be working on winning the war full time. Towards the end, I'm afraid, the public would have been outraged at any act of self-indulgence. I heard Luna herself asked Applejack to postpone her relationship with the buck she was dating until after the war was settled. The closest one ever came to being married was rarity to Prince Blueblood. I understand her ejection was quite legendary. Yeah, he was still feeling it 2 centuries later. I sighed as I rubbed my leg. I felt flesh and bone here in my head. So, what does it matter if I am or not? I mean, if I remember correctly, EC-1101 goes to each of the people in line of succession and then to a descendant, and that was broken or something? As far as EC-1101 is concerned, I don't know how or if it will matter. But there are other considerations too. Great, lay it on me. I was now part robot and apparently the great-great-grandkid of one of the ministry mayors. I could take it. You see, in order to purge the taint saturating your system, we had to have access to a spell held by the Twilight Society, a group of ponies descended from the MAS researchers who survived the bombs. They control Ten Pony Tower, where we, physically, are now, and unlike us, they had some very specific demands. So let me guess, I owe them 1,000,000 bits plus my firstborn? I asked with a snort, knowing that would never happen. No. What they want you to do is try and open a door, she said grimly. A door that can only be opened by a ministry mayor. One particular mayor. Twilight Sparkle. I wondered if the Twilight Society could have just asked the goddess. Twilight was part of it now, somehow. Right. A 1 in 6 chance is better odds than they've had in ages, she said quietly. If you can't open it, then I'm sure they'll pat you on the head and send you on your way. But if you can, then they'll try to get their hooves on whatever's inside. She looked at me soberly. But if you do open that door, that means everything inside is yours by right. I know you're inclined to give things up, and I know that they will plead their need. Trust me, it is a lie. For 1.5 centuries I worked with them. Whatever help they need is nothing compared to the help they've denied others. They could have dedicated themselves to improving the wasteland. Instead, they turned Ten Pony Tower into a gated community and turned away every pony they couldn't either exploit or use. And the second you turn the room's contents over to them is the second they will boot you and your friends out the front door. Well, that sounded pleasant. But, Professor, I don't want you to be trapped like this. I felt as if she was going to die or something. Was it just me, or was everything starting to get hazy around us? It looks like the sedatives are taking effect. She put her hoof to my lips. I've had years to come to terms with this. You saved Capricorn and Pisces. You gave a steel pony, even after I tried to trick you. By destroying the Celestia, you saved the Collegiate as well. I have no doubt that Steel Rain would have destroyed us if we resisted, and if we surrendered, well... She closed her eyes as she smiled, looking tired but happy. By saving your life, I can save more. Isn't that what you always do, Blackjack? That was different. I'd killed ponies who didn't deserve it. Deep down, I wasn't much different from people I fought, if maybe a little more stupid and reckless. I didn't want good ponies to die for me, but that wasn't what she needed to hear from me right now. Yeah, it is, I said as I looked at her. Funny, but did she always look so old and tired? Thank you, Silverstripe. No, thank you, Blackjack, she said with a curl of her wrinkled lips. And happy birthday.